Francis Bacon painted as if the canvas could wound him. He once said he wanted to paint a mouth the way Monet painted a sunset. Instead, the result was screams, distorted, torn, gaping. He was fascinated by the shape of the mouth, by the shine of teeth, by the color that explodes from an open jaw. It began, it's said, with a film, a shot from Battleship Potemkin, with a nurse, her glasses shattered, her mouth frozen in terror. But Bacon also remembered finding an old medical textbook on diseases of the mouth, with hand-colored plates. That stayed with him. You can see it. The violence, the beauty, the flesh as something temporary, exposed, collapsing. But before we continue, let me tell you about something that will help you discuss art with real confidence. No jargon, no stress. Leap Art's free art guide gives you simple, effective tools to break down artwork and express your thoughts with ease. Whether you're new to art or looking to refine your skills, this guide will help you engage in meaningful discussions effortlessly. You'll find the link in the video description. Francis Bacon was born on October 28, 1909, in Dublin, into a conservative upper-middle-class Irish family. His father, a former army officer and horse trainer, upheld strict traditional values, while his mother came from a family of steel magnates. Bacon's upbringing was privileged, but emotionally distant, shaped by repression, discipline, and social formality. From an early age, he had a flair for the theatrical and expressive, which put him in conflict with his father. Around the age of 16, after being caught wearing his mother's clothes, he was thrown out of the family home. The act of dressing up was symbolic as much as literal. It was a rejection of everything his background stood for. After that, Bacon was supported by his family with a small allowance. He moved to London, then Berlin and Paris, where he began to absorb modern art, film, and ideas on his own terms, without formal education. These early breaks from class, convention, and family became foundational to his development as an artist. The turning point came in the 1940s, with 3 studies for figures at the base of a crucifixion: twisted bodies, screaming heads. He said they were based on the ancient gods of revenge, the Furies. The work was painted while the world was still reeling from the war, from the camps, from what people had done to each other. Bacon didn't need religion for the crucifixion. He used it as a structure, a way to think about human violence, a way to stage cruelty without pretending there was redemption at the end. Now, if you made it this far, please support us and hit subscribe and stay with us for more incredible stories on art in future videos. He avoided sentiment. He didn't paint smiles. He said he wanted to but never managed to. Smiles conceal. He was after something more primitive, the moment before language, before order. His studio reflected this. Total chaos, dust, scraps, oil, photographs on the floor. He liked it that way. Said it helped him work. He had tried a neat, beautiful studio once. It was carpeted, had perfect light. He couldn't paint a thing in it. The chaos gave him energy. It suggested things. It made sense to make something precise in a room that refused to behave. He didn't draw much. He might sketch a rough outline with thin paint, just enough to position a figure. But then he left the rest to chance. That's the word he used. Chance. He didn't mean improvisation. He meant reaching a point where he no longer knew what he was doing. That was where things could begin. He'd move paint around until something caught him. Then instinct took over. There are moments, he said, when the paint suddenly becomes the image. He sometimes drank while painting. He made the crucifixion triptych after 2 weeks of drinking. He thought it was one of his best. Alcohol loosened him, but he was careful. He didn't want to blur everything. He wanted clarity, just not predictability. Bacon also used photography constantly. He preferred it to life sittings. He thought photos gave him more freedom. Bacon was never trying to flatter or please. He didn't even want models in the room. They got in the way. They made him hold back. If he liked a person, he didn't want to harm them. That's how he described it. The act of painting someone was a kind of injury. Distortion, for him, was unavoidable. It wasn't style, it was truth. But what exactly does that truth mean? Most of his figures are seated. They're in rooms. They're alone. It's the rawness that unsettles. Bacon didn't edit. He didn't soften. If the image came through with clarity, straight into the nervous system, it was enough. He believed people are disturbed by facts. Say something directly, and someone will take offense, even if it's true. He once painted from an image of Velázquez's Pope Innocent X over and over, yet never saw the original in Rome. He was afraid, he said, afraid to see the real thing after tampering with it for so long. He stayed away, walked through St. Peter's, loathed the churches, but didn't dare face that painting in person. He painted meat often, sides of beef, slabs of animal flesh. He said meat was beautiful, but also horrifying, one thing feeding on another. That was how life worked. People wore fur, ate steak, then complained about bullfighting. He found that absurd. Hypocrisy was a form of blindness. Throughout his life, Bacon had intense relationships. Some ended in grief, like the suicide of George Dyer, just before a major exhibition in Paris. He processed that loss in paint and produced a series of triptychs that are among his most haunting. He painted his friends, his lovers, himself. He said that every portrait was also a kind of self-portrait. That's what he admired in Rembrandt. The sense that behind the sitter you saw the painter, the hand exposed the man. He used dust from his studio to make the grey of a suit. Years later, the color hadn't faded. Dust lasts. Dust, he said, is eternal. Sooner or later, we return to it. Bacon didn't believe in life after death. He didn't believe in much beyond sensation and form. He said we are accidents, but we are rare, brief ones, and we play out the game without reason. Art for him was the one place where something sharp, something true could still happen. Not answers, not meaning, but a blow and a caress at the same time. If you love art that shakes things up, you're in for a treat in future videos, so subscribe and smash that like button. More jaw-dropping art is coming your way, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching.